I spent my life solving problems that no one else could solve. And the single most dangerous thing I ever encountered was not a difficult equation. It was a word that almost everyone trusts completely: efficiency. The more you chase it, the further you drift from the decisions that matter most. I know this sounds wrong. Every system, every habit, every productivity method tells you the opposite. But I want to show you, step by step, exactly why and what to do instead. If you stay with me until the end, the way you spend your time will look different to you. Here is where it begins. You have noticed that your list grows longer every day, and yet nothing truly moves forward. You plan to do the one thing that actually mattered today, and somehow it got pushed aside again. Meanwhile, all the small, forgettable tasks got done. Most people, when they reach this point, turn to efficiency for salvation. They divide their time into smaller pieces, eliminate waste, try to handle more things at once. They believe that moving faster and more precisely will increase results. But I have found that the more you chase efficiency, the further you drift from the decisions that matter most. The reason is simple. Efficiency is the art of moving faster along a road that has already been chosen. It carries no power to help you choose which road to walk. Results do not come from running the same road faster than everyone else. They come from deciding, first, which road deserves your steps at all. This is true in mathematics. The breakthrough never comes from calculating more quickly. It comes from seeing the problem differently. And that shift in vision does not arise from efficiency. It arises from intuition. Intuition is not guesswork. It is not a lucky feeling or a careless impulse. It is this: knowing, without yet being able to say why, that this is the direction. It is the quiet surfacing of everything you have observed, absorbed, and allowed to settle within you. It is understanding, ripened slowly over time, arriving all at once. But when efficiency is prioritized above all else, the silence in which intuition is born gets cut away first. Always rushing, always filling every moment, always reaching for the next task before the last one has had time to breathe. Understanding never ripens. You consume much, but you see deeply into nothing. Your judgments narrow to small, short-term gains. The choices that would have mattered most over years, over a lifetime, become invisible to you. If you have noticed that the more efficient you become, the more suffocated you feel, that is not a malfunction. That is the signal that you are trying to produce something real in a domain where efficiency is simply the wrong tool. Real learning, real work, real human connection, all of it lives on the side of intuition and understanding. In that world where you look matters far more than how fast you move. The faster you try to move, the narrower your vision becomes. People who prioritize efficiency almost always begin by organizing the mechanics, the order of tasks, the optimal sequence, the allocation of minutes. But at that point, they've not yet asked the deeper question: what actually needs to be done at all? The method of execution has taken priority over the meaning of the action. In my own mathematical work, there was a period when I competed with myself on speed. How quickly I could manipulate equations, how much I could process in a single day. The volume increased, but my way of seeing the problems did not change. No matter how elegantly I rearranged the symbols, if the question itself was framed wrongly at the root, no new result could follow. Then one day, I changed my practice. Before calculating, I would sit with a problem, sometimes for a long time, and simply look at it, not at the numbers on the surface, but only at this. What relationship is this problem asking me to examine? My hands were nearly still. but the speed of my understanding was incomparable to anything before. Once my perspective shifted, the calculations that followed seemed to organize themselves naturally. I must be clear. I am not saying that slowness is the answer. Moving slowly does not automatically produce depth. What matters is the deliberate pause, the moment of choosing where to look before momentum takes over. Without that pause, slowness is just inefficiency. With it, everything that follows is aimed. Before you begin anything, take 30 seconds, not to plan the steps, but to ask quietly, what will this actually change? And how long will that change last? If the answer is unclear, even if the task feels urgent, consider lowering its priority. The mind is like the surface of water. Stir it vigorously and waves appear, but the shape of the bottom becomes invisible. The more you add to your motion, the less you can see of what truly matters beneath. Before you increase your speed, decide where to look. That small habit, practiced quietly and consistently, will reorganize the whole shape of how you spend your time. Intuition cannot be summoned by force. When most people want a breakthrough, they push harder, gathering more information, turning over every possibility, constructing an answer piece by piece. But this method only reshuffles what is already on the surface. It leaves no room for the deeper understanding resting quietly beneath to rise on its own. When I worked on difficult problems in mathematics, what I watched most carefully was not the quantity of my thinking, but the condition of my mind. When I was anxious, I could sit at my desk for hours and circle the same ground endlessly. When my mind was calm, a short period of attention could suddenly change how the entire problem appeared. Intuition is not sensitive to the length of time you give it. It is sensitive to the environment of the mind you bring. To prepare the mind does not require a special technique or a complicated practice. It requires only this: a single moment of noticing where your attention actually is. When you are facing a difficult decision, your mind is almost always crowded with the fear of failure, the fear of loss, the worry about how you will appear to others. These voices rise simultaneously, and the mind fills with noise. As long as that noise continues, the voice of intuition cannot be heard. Imagine you are facing a significant choice, a direction in your work or your studies. Future, security. What others expect of me. What I actually want. These conditions swirl together. You gather more and more information, trying to satisfy all of them at once. But the more conditions you add, the slower and more uncertain the decision becomes. What you need in that moment is not more information. You need to reduce the conditions. Choose one question. Only one. Which path over the long term will most deepen my understanding of what I care about? When you commit to that single question, choices that felt equally weighted may suddenly become clear. That clarity is the signal that the conditions for intuition have been prepared. The mind is like a voice in a noisy room. You do not need to shout louder. You need to quiet the other sounds, and the words become clear on their own. Intuition does not grow stronger through force. Its outline becomes visible when the surrounding noise is stilled. When facing an important decision, instead of rushing toward an answer, take a few minutes to hold only this question in your mind. Will this choice deepen my understanding or merely protect me from discomfort? You do not need an immediate answer. Simply hold the question and set aside, for now, the voices of short-term gain and loss. Intuition is like a bird that flees when you chase it. When you step back and watch quietly, it comes toward you. The more you carry at once, the shallower your understanding of each thing becomes. Those who prioritize efficiency tend to multiply their simultaneous efforts, several projects running in parallel, errands slipped into small gaps, different problems turning over during the commute. It looks from the outside like time is being used with maximum care, but inside the mind, nothing is reaching sufficient depth before the next stimulus arrives. The mind has the same nature as a physical desk. The more objects placed on it, the harder it becomes to spread any one thing open and examine it fully. The outlines blur, the important differences disappear, and intuition is precisely the act of becoming sensitive to those outlines, the subtle differences that separate one path from another. Without space on the desk, the outlines cannot be seen. Reducing what you carry simultaneously does not mean reducing the plans in your life. It means reducing what the center of your mind is gripping right now in this hour. It is not the number of appointments that determines your depth. It is how many problems your mind is holding tightly at once. When I worked on a difficult problem, I would allow the others to go temporarily soft at the edges, present but not gripped. Only the one central question remained in full focus. When I walked, when I spoke with others, the daily life continued. But at the center of my mind, the same question waited. And because of that consistency at the center, understanding deepened not only during the hours of deliberate work, but slowly between them as well. Suppose you are troubled simultaneously by your studies, your commitments, and a difficulty with someone close to you. In your mind, anxiety about each one shifts and rotates without order. In that state, trying to resolve any one of them only pulls your attention toward the others. The result is that each problem receives only a little attention and none is decisively changed. What helps in that situation is deciding, today, which single understanding do I want to move forward by one step? Not which tasks to complete, which understanding to deepen. Other thoughts will arise. You do not need to resist them. Simply return your attention quietly to the one question you chose. The mind is like a lens. A lens that tries to illuminate a wide field produces only warmth. A lens that focuses on a single point produces fire. The fewer things you carry at the center, the more heat your attention generates, and the more likely something will change. If you judge only by what you can see right away, you will cut off the largest fruit before it has time to grow. When efficiency is the primary lens, how much did I accomplish today becomes the measure of everything. Tasks completed, problems solved, visible outputs. But when intuition deepens, when real understanding grows, the early stages look from the outside like almost nothing is happening. The most essential growth is invisible at the beginning. Mathematical research was like this. Long stretches would pass with no visible result. Before anything could take shape as a proof or a paper, months might be spent simply re-examining how the question itself was framed. From outside, it appeared that nothing was being produced, but the quality of that quiet time, the texture of that slow turning of the question, determined the depth of every discovery that followed. I am not saying that drifting along slowly is enough. What matters is learning to distinguish, inside yourself, the difference between the time when results are invisible because growth is still forming, and the time when nothing is moving because you have genuinely stopped. When you are invisibly advancing, the shape of the question is changing within you. When you are truly stalled, the question and the viewpoint are completely still. I began asking myself, today, did the question itself change shape, even slightly? Even if no proof advanced by a single line, if the way I was holding the problem had shifted, I counted that day as forward motion. When I changed my standard this way, The anxiety about days without visible results decreased, and my attention turned naturally toward the precision of the question itself, which was where all the real work lived. Imagine you begin reading a difficult book in a field new to you. The first days are dense with unfamiliar terms. You read and still feel lost. You think, I am investing so much time and understanding nothing, and so you move to another book, something easier, something that gives the comfortable feeling of comprehension immediately. But the real change was happening inside the confusion. That feeling of not understanding is evidence that you are encountering something that does not yet fit your existing framework. That is exactly where growth lives. If you stop there, you simply return to the comfort of the old frame. But if you stay with the same material, moving through it, circling it, sitting with it across several days, the structure begins to reveal itself. The mind is like a field that has been seeded. If you dig it up immediately asking, why is nothing growing yet? You damage the seed before it can take root. The earliest stages of growth require the particular courage of delayed judgment. In the first period of learning anything new, let go of results as your standard. Ask instead, what did I find newly confusing today? Where did I get stuck in a way I hadn't before? The place where you get newly stuck is the edge of where you have reached, and that edge is where understanding grows. What looks from the outside like empty time is often where understanding quietly stitches itself together. The logic of efficiency says, a gap in the schedule is a gap to fill, something useful, something productive. The commute, the waiting, the space between tasks, all of it becomes opportunity to absorb more, do more, review more. And the feeling of having used every minute is satisfying. But the process by which understanding actually deepens works in precisely the opposite direction. New knowledge does not become your own the moment you receive it. It sinks, it settles. It needs time to find the understanding already inside you and to bind itself to it. That process of binding from the outside looks exactly like empty time. If you continuously fill the space before that binding can occur, knowledge accumulates as fragments, pieces without connection. Inside the mind, the fragments of understanding are always searching for new ways to link together. The process is like threads slowly unraveling, reaching for a different configuration. But if you keep throwing new threads into the space before the old ones can find their pattern, everything becomes tangled. More information makes the whole structure harder to see. I'm not saying that empty time automatically produces wisdom. Left entirely to itself, the mind often drifts. What I mean is intentional release, the kind of emptiness where you know you are choosing in this moment not to pursue. When I reached a wall on a difficult problem, I would deliberately step away from it. I would look at a tree in the garden, walk quietly for a while. During that time, I stopped chasing the equation in my mind, but I allowed a faint awareness of that question, that problem, to remain somewhere at the back. And sometimes, from that loosened state, a completely different angle would surface unbidden. What I understood from this: intuition is born from the alternation of concentration and release. Neither alone is sufficient. Deep concentration prepares the material. The empty space that follows allows the material to reorganize, and from that reorganization, something surfaces and takes form. Imagine you are working through a difficult concept. You keep pursuing the same explanation in your mind during the commute and the moments of waiting, and yet beyond a certain point, nothing advances. The same passage reads the same way each time. That is the state where the mind already holds sufficient material, but has been given no time for the connections to form. What is needed is not more information. It is the willingness to set it down. The mind is like a jar of clouded water. When you stop stirring it, when you set it down and allow it to rest, the particles settle, and slowly the shape of the bottom becomes visible. Empty time is not the absence of progress. It is the moment you stop stirring so that what is already there can finally be seen. After a period of real concentration, before you move on to the next thing, take only a few moments. Do not immediately begin explaining the material to yourself again. Simply let what you were just working with settle quietly into the back of your mind. Turn your attention lightly to the sounds around you, the light in the room. That brief space, repeated several times across a day, gives understanding more opportunities to connect than you can observe directly. Do not measure the pace of your understanding against the ruler someone else has built. You watch people around you and judge yourself by what you see. That person accomplishes so much in so little time. I am slow. But another person's efficiency is the accumulated result of everything they have chosen to value until now. It is not a universal standard. It is not built for you. When you try to conform to it, the direction your intuition is reaching toward and the direction external expectation points begin to diverge. In environments that prize efficiency, what is most easily evaluated and praised tends to be clarity, explicability, visibility, numbers, rankings, measurable outputs. But intuition and deep understanding cannot be assessed from the outside for a long time. If you allow only externally legible metrics to govern your attention, you will begin to deny the changes that have not yet taken visible form. I am not saying to ignore others' evaluations entirely. External feedback gives you a way to locate yourself within the shared world, but it tells you only about visible speed, and that is a different thing entirely from the quality of the understanding forming inside you. These two must be kept clearly separate. When I was young, I was unsettled by the pace of other researchers. Some colleagues produced many papers in a short span. Looking at them, I felt my own progress was insufficient, but eventually I recognized what I actually cared about, not how many papers I had written, but how far I had been able to see into one question. I quietly changed my measure, from quantity to the degree of my own conviction. From that point, the external race and my internal pace became two separate things. I could hold them both without one collapsing into the other. I did not stop caring about external evaluation entirely, but I began to develop a sense of, here I can afford to be slow. Here it is worth matching the pace of others. Once that line existed inside me, the restlessness in my mind visibly quieted. Suppose you are working alongside others in the same field. Around you, people seem to grasp the essentials quickly and produce results in a short time. Meanwhile, you are returning to fundamentals, trying to understand the background, spending more time. You feel that you are simply slow. But if the part you are spending time on constitutes the foundation that will matter later, the picture changes. The thicker your understanding of the foundation, the more stable your response when new problems appear. Seen through short-term efficiency, you are slow. Seen through long-term change, you are moving at a different pace. If you do not find words for that difference inside yourself, the speed of others will pull your mind off course. The mind is like a thermometer. Touch it to the outside air and the needle moves. But you are the one who decides what each degree means. The calibration is yours to set. Keeping some distance from others' measure of efficiency is not isolation. It is a quiet but decisive protection for the intuition still forming inside you. When you feel anxiety from watching others speed, ask yourself, only once, inwardly, what kind of slowness am I choosing right now, and why? If the answer has coherence, allow that slowness to stand. If the answer is vague, let that be the prompt to reconsider your direction. The path with less unnecessary wandering is not the one that seems most useful. It is the one toward which something in you quietly and persistently leans. When efficiency is the dominant frame, the question becomes, will this pay off later? Will it be recognized? Can I explain its value? Those are reasonable questions. They offer a clear kind of reassurance. But when the heart is not truly drawn to what you are doing, sustained concentration becomes impossible. Every time attention wanders, effort must be applied to pull it back. In the visible hours, this may not show, but beneath the surface, the cost accumulates. Intuition works most deeply when there's genuine familiarity with the subject, not the familiarity of knowing it well, but the familiarity of caring about it. I was drawn, with great persistence, to a particular area of mathematics, not because of its utility, not because it would lead anywhere in particular, but because I wanted to know, what is the shape of this world? That quiet question allowed me to think without noticing time passing. From the outside, the road I was on must have looked like a detour. From the inside, it felt like the only natural path. I am not saying, do only what you love and discard the rest. Everyone carries obligations, domains they must engage with regardless of feeling. But even within those constraints, there are directions where the mind becomes more still, and directions where it remains heavy. To grow intuition does not require perfect freedom. It requires that, within the limited range you have, you notice which direction feels quietly alive, and give it slightly more of your attention. When the mind is drawn toward something, attention returns to it naturally. You step away and find yourself thinking about it again. This is not willpower pulling you back. It is the subject itself carrying something that continues to attract your attention. The more this natural return repeats, the more quietly and certainly your intuition deepens around that thing. When, by contrast, a subject was chosen only for its usefulness, attention must be held in place by external pressure, deadlines, comparisons, the fear of falling behind. Without those pressures, attention drifts immediately. When you sustain attention through external force alone, the voice rising from inside, the voice of intuition, becomes harder and harder to hear. Suppose you are choosing a field to study, placing utility first. You select a direction that others recommend, and you engage with the material earnestly. But when it grows difficult, your mind pulls away, and you must bring it back. Meanwhile, there may be another area that draws you quietly, one that does not seem immediately useful, but in which time moves differently, and the act of thinking itself carries less resistance. That difference is your inner sense showing you where it can remain for longer. The mind is like the roots of a plant. They do not reach toward soil that appears more productive. They reach toward soil that suits them, and in the soil that suits them, the roots grow deep. The quieter the attraction, the deeper the understanding that follows. Among the things you are currently working on, imagine the outcomes were equal. Which one could you stay with longer without losing interest? Change the criterion just once, from which is more useful to which could I keep looking at without growing tired. Give that direction a little more of your time and attention, It may look like a detour from the perspective of efficiency, but from the perspective of intuition and understanding, that quiet choice is often the shortest path. When you pursue efficiency above all else, your mind is always being rushed. Decide faster, move faster. In that constant pressure, your genuine interests and the voice of your intuition get pushed to the margins. Everything I have spoken about today is not a matter of special talent, where you place your attention, how many things you hold at once, whether you judge by immediate results, whether you keep distance from others' rulers, and how much time you give to what quietly draws you. These are all conditions you can begin to change today. You do not need to make a dramatic decision all at once. Changing the conditions gradually is gentler on the mind and lasts longer. When the conditions shift, the same choices carry different meaning. Your life is shaped less by which choices you make, and more by which conditions you are standing in when you choose. I want to say one more thing clearly. I am not condemning efficiency. Efficiency is genuinely useful for traveling a road once it has been chosen, but when efficiency becomes the criterion for choosing the road itself, it drifts away from the direction intuition would point you toward. And so I've always tried to keep these two things in separate roles: intuition for choosing the direction, efficiency for traveling it. Within you, there are already many fragments of understanding. They have not yet taken form, but they are there. Something that drew your attention you could not yet explain. A discomfort that never quite resolved. A pull you never found words for. When these fragments connect, your own way of seeing will emerge. It cannot be measured by anyone else's ruler, but for your life, it will be decisive. At the end of each day, only a few moments, ask yourself this question: did my understanding deepen somewhere by even one layer today? It does not matter how small the shift. Keep your attention aimed at that question. The more you do, the more your interest will quietly reorient itself toward the direction where understanding actually grows. A life that prioritizes intuition and understanding over efficiency may not look remarkable from the outside, but inside, a road with coherence runs quietly through it. And whether to walk that road is always already in your hands.